burning orange and blue. Overtaken by this fever dream, I kept digging underground, trying to figure out just what it means to find a thing that can't be found. I think I found it now, and nothing else will do. A heart that burns so true, burning orange and blue, orange and blue, orange and blue, doo-doo-doo-doo, and I'm still kneeling by the water's edge. The sky is black and thunder rolls. And now I hold this heart within my hands, and I won't ever let it go. I think I found it now, and nothing else will do. A heart that burns so true, burning orange and blue, burning orange and blue, burning orange and blue, burning orange and blue.
Good afternoon. My name is Ronnie Green, and I serve as the Chancellor of the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. Welcome to Charter Day and to our 2021 State of Our University address. I hope you will join me in thanking our university jazz singers for that wonderful rendition that you just heard of Orange and Blue. I also would like to thank NET for working with us today to live stream today's State of Our University address to reach as many of our community as possible. 2 years ago, at the launch of our N150 celebratory year, I used the words, "Can you imagine?" in describing our 25-year vision for UNL. A year ago, we celebrated the launch of our bold N2025 strategic plan with its 6 aims and overall theme of where every person and every interaction matter. It was an exciting and energizing time as we launched into our 152nd year as Nebraska's flagship land-grant comprehensive research university. But there were storm clouds on the horizon. News reports chronicled the growing threat of a novel coronavirus. The first U.S. case that occurred in January before our State of the University address. And the U.S. was already in the very early stages of a public health emergency. But little did we know the breadth of what was in store. In fact, we never could have imagined 2020. I will tell you that I think we sit at a really interesting and promising inflection point. In the face of challenges, our university creates opportunity with the power to transform lives across Nebraska and around the world. We are now releasing today for the first time our N2025 plan. The N2025 plan has 6 strategic aims for our campus that deal with student success and learning, deals with creative activity and scholarship, deals with engagement, deals with diversity and inclusive excellence, and deals with investing in our people.
Lancaster County is the latest county to have a confirmed case of COVID-19.
The Rutgers and Michigan players have been told to leave the court and that the tournament is being canceled. It seems we will have no basketball, not just today, but who knows here going forward.
I realized the inevitable was probably going to happen and that we were going to get shut down.
26,000 UNL undergrad and graduate students will be making the transition to online courses for the remainder of the school year.
Still together, strong as ever, design power.
One half of the books in this 2020 virtual reality Husker spring game.
I learned more in last year about coaching than I did in the previous 19 because I'm open to learning.
I am pleased to confer upon each of you a degree from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Congratulations, graduates in the class of 2020.
Tuition at 3 University of Nebraska campuses will now be free for some students.
We are working round the clock, thinking about how we are going to make this happen and happen successfully. You know, we're thinking about there's 7 days in the week, not 5. There are 12 hours in the day, not 8. There are venues that we wouldn't normally use for spreading out our classes and spreading out people across our curriculum. We're going to make it happen.
In Minneapolis tonight, tensions are high as 4 police officers have been fired after a man was pinned to the ground and died. The incident was caught on camera.
The mayor of Minneapolis announced efforts to restore peace and security in the city following 2 days of protest.
I stand here today for George Floyd.
I stand here today for Breonna Taylor.
We cannot only care when it's convenient. We cannot only care when it impacts us directly. We are standing here together as black and white people, making it clear that we are sickened by the events taking place in our country involving the systematic injustices toward our black people.
No one should have to handle the death of their child, brother, sister, mother, father unjustly killed.
This needs to be very clearly addressed and understood by all of us. This is critically important for us, and we're committed to it. We need to take action.
To our students, faculty, and staff, welcome to fall 2020 semester.
The important thing is our fans are going to have Husker football.
Never easy to adjust your budget. Through our tenacity and resilience, today we are wrapping up a successful fall semester like none other.
2 3-week sessions are offered to UNL students in December and January.
don't settle for anything eventually that's less than working for a company you admire or people you admire, and really the job, if you had no need for the money, it's still the job that you jump out of bed for in the morning. There is nobody I would rather be than a young person graduating from the University of Nebraska today.
I can't agree more with what Warren said in December to our graduates. What a journey we have had. And I want to pause here to say thank you. Thank you to all of those who meticulously planned for our return in the fall and for this spring semester. You have spent thousands of hours helping to safeguard our UNL community and protect our missions of education, research and creative activity, and outreach. Thank you to our faculty and our graduate assistants, as well as the Center for Transformative Teaching and our instructional designers, who didn't miss a beat last spring in pivoting to remote instruction. You have balanced a combination of remote and in-person learning since August. You have innovated and been incredibly resilient, and you have continued to put the success of our student scholars first, where their success is your success. And all the while, you have continued to be prolific in furthering the national and international reach and impact of our research and creative activity. Thank you to our student scholars across the spectrum. This is not the university collegiate experience that you signed up for, but you too have been incredibly resilient and dedicated. You've done what's necessary to help protect our community. You've continued to move forward toward your degrees, with nearly 5,700 of you earning those Husker degrees this year. To put this in perspective, during the biggest public health emergency in the last 100 years, our third largest graduating class in history emerged successfully. Thank you to those who are on the front lines, who haven't had the option to work remotely. Our facilities team, our dining and residence hall staff, our health center professionals, our student life professionals, our IT staff, and teams managing ongoing vital research infrastructure and projects. Thank you to many of our faculty and staff who have adapted successfully to delivering on our mission remotely, many with children at home, allowing our operations to continue while protecting the campus community's safety at the very highest levels. Thank you to Nebraska Extension for continuing your focus on how we support our statewide campus, and particularly youth activities and outreach that continued work during calving, planting, county and state fair, and harvest seasons. Thank you to everyone who developed and operated the partnership with Test Nebraska for our symptom-based and random mitigation testing last fall. To our partners' tremendous partnership with the City of Lincoln and Mayor Larian Gaylor Baird, and the Lincoln-Lancaster County Health Department, particularly Director Pat Lopez and her team. And a tremendous thank you to our Nebraska Veterinary Diagnostics Center and everyone involved in the Herculean task of setting up and running our own saliva-based PCR testing and the Safer Community app. We're especially grateful to those employees who have redeployed their efforts to serve in COVID-related roles, such as contact tracers on our public health team. Thank you to the innovators and the makers, both on our campus and in our community, who volunteered to help. You saw an opportunity to make a difference and stepped in to help in a myriad of ways, including creating and distributing thousands of PPE gowns, 21,000 face shields, and more than 200,000 gallons of hand sanitizer for our campus and across Nebraska and the nation. I have never been prouder of our institution and its people. We saw the obstacles, we stepped up with unparalleled commitment to deliver on our mission, and we have met the challenge, and then some. We have truly shown our grit in a time where glory is simply the satisfaction of persevering successfully and gracefully together. The fact is, at UNL, we didn't just persevere. We have led in the Big Ten and across higher education. We did not waver on safely delivering access to education. We have led the Big Ten in our level of in-person education, even as our faculty have been incredibly responsive to working with students who were unable to be with us on campus. We never shut down our world-leading research and creative activity. We kept going. We continued to engage and support the people of Nebraska during this pandemic. We used our ingenuity, creativity, and work ethic to flexibly respond. With innovative class offerings, our summer enrollment increased more than 8%. This included a new opportunity for incoming freshmen to get a leg up and take summer courses through our new Husker Starter Pack. We expanded our push for access. Within the NU system, we froze tuition and expanded the former college-bound Nebraska program to the Nebraska Promise, offering a tuition-free education to any student from Nebraska with an annual family income of $60,000 or less. We bucked national and regional trends of double-digit declines in enrollment. While we had small, expected decreases in enrollments of our international students who, as you know, faced unprecedented challenges this year, we saw more Nebraskans, more national students, more first-generation students, and a record number of underrepresented minority students matriculate with us here at UNL. We completed a fall semester that led the Big Ten into in-person educational opportunities while maintaining our focus on keeping our UNL and Lincoln communities safe. We thought outside the box and turned spaces like the one I'm speaking to you from today here at the Lead Center for the Performing Arts into classrooms. We altered our fall and spring calendars to mitigate the risk of extended travel, and that created an opportunity for 2 3-week sessions during our new winterim. Again, our faculty came forward with over 100 innovative course proposals, and nearly 4,000 of our students completed over 10,000 credit hours of coursework. We upped our game to help our students be successful and did so like never before. In the last year, we have added tremendous new talent to our institution and seen people ascend to new leadership roles. 116 new faculty joined us with bright futures here at Nebraska. Elizabeth Spiller joined us as our new Executive Vice Chancellor, arriving just as the impacts of COVID-19 became real in mid-March, from her prior appointment as the Dean of the College of Letters and Science at UC Davis. Lori Bellows was named Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs following 3 years of very successful interim leadership. Jake Johnson changed roles to become Associate to the Chancellor for Institutional Equity and Compliance. Patrick Winter joined us from the University of Georgia as the Associate Chancellor of Academic Affairs and the Director of Academic Services and Enrollment Management. We welcomed Sherry Vale as the new Dean of the College of Journalism and Mass Communications. Hassan Ramza was named Chief of the University Police Division. And Dave Varner stepped up to serve as Interim Dean of Nebraska Extension, following the retirement of nationally recognized leader and now Dean Emeritus, Chuck Hibbard. And while we led in our adaptability during the pandemic, we also continued to have significant scholarship achievements. Our research expenditures remained strong at $320 million. This is a successive year that we have seen records, and in a time of pandemic like we have seen, it is phenomenal. I'm proud of the exceptional work of our research and creative activity and the impact of our programs with growth in key areas. Faculty reaped a number of significant international, national, and NU system honors, certainly led by the naming of Professor Ray Hames as a new member of the National Academy of Sciences. Craig Allen, Rakwa, Kristen Olson, and Jim Takish were named prestigious American Association for the Advancement of Science Fellows. The NU system presented honors to Ed Cahoon with the Outstanding Research and Creative Activity Award, to Jody Koenig-Kalis and Walt Stroop with the Outstanding Teaching and Instructional Creative Activity Award, to Nebraska Law with the Inclusive Excellence Collaboration Award, and in 2 successive years, last year the Nebraska Association of County Extension Boards, and this year at the Ag Builders of Nebraska, being honored with the Presidential Medal of Service. It also was a record year where we saw 9 of our junior faculty named to prestigious National Early Career Awards, showing the promise of their future in scholarship here at Nebraska. Congratulations certainly to all of you. Kwame Dawes assumed the helm of the American Life and Poetry column after a handoff from our own retiring Ted Kuzer. Congratulations to the 37 faculty who were granted tenure this past year and the 91 faculty who were promoted in rank. These are both major milestones in the life and careers of our faculty and reflect your impact and stature in your fields on local, state, national, and global scales. For the first time in a decade, UNL moved up 2 spots in the U.S. News rankings to 62nd among public institutions. And importantly, we were the only institution in the Big Ten that saw our peer assessment score increase in each of the last 2 years. The NU system ranked 65th in the world in U.S. patents. Of the 44 patents granted last year, UNL researchers were listed on 35 of them, which would have ranked UNL in the top 100 nationally on our own. The 2021 Omnibus Appropriations Bill adopted by the U.S. Congress in December, thanks to Congressman Jeff Fortenberry, included $11.2 million in initial funding for planning a proposed new National Center for Food and Agriculture Innovation with USDA's Agricultural Research Service, an initial step to a public-private partnership venture in concert with INR at UNL at Nebraska Innovation Campus. A new Nebraska Technology Governance Center was built and formally launched by Nebraska Law, led by Professor Gus Hurwitz, at a pivotally important time globally in this subject matter area. And we keep growing and improving our living and learning infrastructure and footprint of our campuses. Within the last year, we opened the Francis Allen Gymnastics Training Facility and Husker Athletics. The Nebraska East Union completely renovated from top to bottom and expanded. Husker Hub and the renovated Canfield Administration Building was finished, along with the new office for the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. The Notobic Mouse facility was added to the Life Sciences Annex on East Campus as a home for research of the Nebraska Food for Health Center. Husker Bowling has newly renovated world-class headquarters in the new Nebraska East Union. Renovation of chemistry labs in Hamilton Hall continued, this time with organic chemistry labs being completed. And most recently, just a few weeks ago with the start of our spring term, the grand opening of the Dinsdale Family Learning Commons in the former C.Y. Thompson Library, an 8-year project in the making for our students, faculty, and staff on East Campus. We're on schedule with construction underway for several major projects, including the Scott Engineering Center rebuild and the LINK rebuild of the College of Engineering, the rebuilding of Mabel Lee Hall as the home for our early childhood education and development and teacher training programs in the college. The new Scarlet Hotel will open on Innovation Campus in August as a co-opted program with our hotel, restaurant, and tourism management program. And the Barclay Center's renovation and expansions are now underway on East Campus. And very soon, later this year, we will kick off construction of the major new Keywood Hall project for Nebraska Engineering, our new instructional facility that we look forward to. Renovations of Architecture Hall, the last wave of renovations of chemistry laboratories in Hamilton Hall, a new Veterans Tribute on Memorial Mall, a new entryway for the Military Sciences Building. When Miller Hall is removed on East Campus, it will make way for the finishing of the East Campus Plaza amongst the new facilities there. And the Schmid Law Library will undergo full renovation beginning later this year in Nebraska Law. The Go Big Athletics Training Facility project and the replacement of the Ed Weir Track and Field at Innovation Campus will be proceeding later this spring. Support for our university and its mission has continued to grow as well. The Nebraska legislature approved $500,000 of new annual research funding for the Dougherty Water for Food Global Institute and $1.3 million for new Nebraska Career Scholarship Program monies at UNL to fund new scholarships for high-demand employment fields. I very much want to thank Governor Ricketts and the members of the legislature for their support last year on these very important initiatives. We recently announced the new Kiewit Scholars Program, a comprehensive and generous scholarship program supported by the employees of the Kiewit Corporation to fully support student scholars, ultimately reaching 40 total students over the next 4 years in Nebraska engineering. Rural Prosperity Nebraska was launched, including the greatly expanded Rural Serviceship Program, with a goal of sending more than 200 UNL student interns to communities across the state annually. And even though the world was upside down in so many ways, UNL received a total of $205 million in philanthropic donations through the University of Nebraska Foundation to support our people and our programs. As Charter Week is now underway with our Charter Day today, we have the opportunity on Wednesday for our annual Glow Big Red, 24 hours of giving to support UNL. I would encourage all who wish to do so, particularly for student scholarships in this time of need that we have. We also made major progress last year in two very important administrative initiatives. The University of Nebraska Board of Regents is now considering a sweeping set of bylaws changes, providing greater protection and due process to our academic faculty and university administration, including Nebraska Extension educators, graduate assistants, and lecturers. Many thanks to the leadership of the Faculty Senate, jointly with Academic Affairs, UNL, and NU system leadership, in working diligently over the past 2.5 years to develop these needed and timely changes. As a result, while those in states around us are talking about abolishing tenure, we are soon to have the most comprehensive academic freedom protections codified in our bylaws of any of our peers in higher education. The UNL Collaborative on Sexual Misconduct looked at all aspects of sexual misconduct affecting UNL, including prevention, education, and intervention, and policies, procedures, and practices. 75 faculty, staff, and students worked for over a year together under Professor Sue Swearer's leadership to produce a detailed set of recommendations. We've already begun implementing many of the recommendations and will be undertaking a number of enhancements in the next academic year, including appointment of an ongoing Chancellor's Collaborative to prevent sexual misconduct and required annual training and education of all members of our UNL community. While we have managed the circumstances associated with COVID-19 highly effectively, the global pandemic has nonetheless come with significant fiscal and financial ramifications. To date, net revenue losses and added costs across the university, after carefully managing and reducing operating costs in all ways possible, have totaled in excess of $120 million. We recognized early on that we would need to effectively plan for major budget reductions to avoid any increased cost burden for our students and their families. As a result, we had to undertake the difficult process of cutting over $38 million from our annual state-aided base budget over the next 3 years. This required very difficult and challenging decisions in order to protect our core academic programs and mission. I want to thank all leaders across all divisions of UNL who took these hard steps to implement these largest in history reductions in record time. Just a week ago, the last of these reductions were recommended for approval by the Academic Planning Committee, who worked tirelessly together with university administration through the fall and into this semester to review and study the proposed budget reductions. We also saw a large number of faculty retirements in 2020 due to the most recent implementation of the NU Voluntary Separation Incentive Program. A total of 59 tenured faculty members moved to emeritus status, representing 1,882 years of impact and service to UNL across 37 of our academic departments. One of my biggest regrets of the pandemic is that we were not able to celebrate physically with them upon their retirement, something we will come back to at the earliest opportunity in the time ahead. This year, the Nebraska legislature will appropriate our fiscal year 22 and fiscal year 23 state funding levels. I want to again thank Governor Ricketts and members of the legislature for fully supporting our budget request, which includes a 2% annual increase for each fiscal year in state base appropriations and additional incremental funding for the Nebraska Career Scholarships Program. This level of funding will allow us to hold to no increases in tuition for each of the next 2 years, while funding modest salary increases for our faculty and staff, after, as you know, us having to forego those raises this past year due to the pandemic. The Nebraska Career Scholarships will also support the long-term vitality of our state by continuing to attract new talent in high-demand career areas. I'm hopeful that the legislature will support and approve our base budget. Additionally, I am very pleased that NU System President Ted Carter has, as a part of his 5-year strategic plan, prioritized investment in reducing the lower faculty salaries relative to our peers, where we lag 8.4%. Assuming a favorable resolution of the state's biennial budget, we will be working together to further augment the already proposed 1.5% and 3% annual faculty salary increases in our budget plan for the next 2 years. We are also very pleased that the legislature is considering a significant long-term capital renewal plan for the university. In total, this would provide up to $1.5 billion in funding to the NU system for capital renewal projects of our extensive capital infrastructure, the majority of which, as you know, is on the UNL campuses. This is vitally important and would benefit UNL directly in the years ahead in critical projects such as the replacement home for the Glencorf School of Music, renewal of the Nyhart Complex for its next purpose, renovation and renewal of architecture in Andrews Halls, and the main galleries of the University of Nebraska State Museum in Morrill Hall. Federal support has been essential to us in helping our university protect against the pandemic and to supporting our students and their families. We are exceptionally grateful for the $15.3 million received from the CARES Act last summer and an additional $23.9 million received in the most recent omnibus bill in December. We're closely following the discussions in Washington of President Biden and the U.S. Congress about the next federal stimulus package and how that will also hopefully assist us in reducing the pandemic losses that were described earlier. This past year, we also continued to do the work necessary to finally transition to an incentive-based budget model, adding important in 2025 target refinements in student success, experiential learning, and student tuition remission components. This year, we will work collectively with campus primary and support units to operationalize and translate the affirmed model into our fiscal year 22 general operating budget. During the next 4 months, we will be actively meeting with campus leaders and faculty on the new model and its operations to allow full transparency and understanding by our campus community. This will be facilitated by Professor Ken Bloom, Faculty Associate to the Chancellor for the budget model implementation. This initiative will encourage a growth mindset, optimize for efficiencies, and incentivize new investments and opportunities, importantly for us, allowing linkages to our end 2025 goals. It is a long-term commitment for our university that will take time and dedication from all of us in order to be successful. I'm very eager for us to take our first step of the full year implementation of the budget model on July 1st of this year. I appreciate the hard work of the IBB steering team, the Office of Business and Finance, the Vice Chancellor, certainly led by Vice Chancellor of Business and Finance, Bill Nunez, as well as the wide participation from across our campuses who provided input to bring us to this important starting point. Perhaps nowhere on campus have we seen a more challenging financial impact from COVID-19 than with Husker Athletics. The loss of last year's spring season, combined with the loss of game day revenue for athletic events this academic year, have been a difficult blow for the university and the state of Nebraska. I appreciate the hard work and commitment of Athletic Director Bill Moose and his leadership team for making the difficult decisions that have helped the department navigate such a challenging landscape of collegiate athletics. And I want to congratulate our student athletes, our coaches, and staffs for their focus and their determination. Our NCAA graduation rate this past year of 94% was record-setting and second only to Northwestern in terms of academic success at the top of the Big Ten. Competing in the midst of a pandemic has required even higher levels of commitment, discipline, and navigation of intense testing and safety protocols for our athletes. I am so glad you have had the opportunity to compete as much as possible in the sports you love and work so hard in. And I want to give a special shout out to the 11 Husker teams competing in the expanded field of Big Ten sports this winter and spring. As always, go Big Red. One cannot underestimate the totality of the positive impact being a member of the Big Ten has brought to UNL. We didn't just join a premier athletic conference in 2011. We became part of the unparalleled Big Ten Academic Alliance. From increased research impacts and partnerships to leveraging of information technology, library services, alumni programs, and faculty and staff leadership development, to significant increases in students across the nation and the world coming to Nebraska. It has been a powerful game changer for us, and we are very proud to be a fully committed member of the Big Ten Conference. Another challenge faced this last year was yet the latest chapter in our centuries-old struggle with racism and racial equity in our nation. The killing of George Floyd and others was a tipping point for a deeply divided America. No matter how much we may want to believe or proclaim that we are unbiased, biases exist and can impact the way we see and treat others. Following an initial statement last summer, I heard from many leaders and groups on our campus. Common among the communications was a sense of frustration that UNL had racially based challenges in 2014 and 2015 and 2018, and yet here we were again. I knew this time had to be different. While the university has made significant and growing efforts on inclusive excellence, we needed to chart a path to where UNL could be defined as anti-racist and be a place where racial equity could be fully achieved. The answer wasn't a task force or a commission. We needed to commit to a long-term journey. 6 co-leaders were named to help and advise us in this journey, along with Vice Chancellor of Diversity and Inclusion, Marco Barker. And I am incredibly grateful to Lori Dance, Kwame Dawes, Anna Shavers, Kara Mitchell-Vieska, Sergio Walls, and Colette Yellowrobe for their passion, their insight, their decision, and their wise counsel. They have worked diligently over the fall and into this year to define the initial stages of our journey, which we will chronicle on our website. And as I have come to learn and appreciate, This will be a very hard and it will be very challenging work, and certainly it will be a long-term process. In addition to our anti-racism and racial equity journey, we have identified several steps to strengthen our commitment to inclusive excellence, including developing a clearer and more transparent process for addressing climate issues that may impede an individual's participation in our UNL community based on their identity. By examining how our current curriculum addresses diversity with a keen focus on race, privilege, and power. As suggested by those who participated in our CEO action sessions, initiating a culture of self-reflection and learning through a Chancellor's reading program focused on race and identity each academic semester, starting with the upcoming fall 2021 term. By committing to studying and addressing systemic issues and institutional policies, including the development of a process to review handling of bias incidents led recently by Professor Sue Swearer and Catherine Wilson. By looking at the honorific naming of buildings and structures on our campus, establishing a Native American and Indigenous Advisory Board and land acknowledgement statement, as well as our approaches to community policing and UNLPD relationships as committed to by University Police Chief Ramsa. And by holding our university leadership team at the Chancellor's Cabinet and Academic Leadership Council levels accountable for developing anti-racist and inclusive excellence strategies. In response to several racially insensitive incidents across campus last fall, you will remember I mentioned that we looked at bias incident reporting by Catherine Wilson and Sue Swearer, and I thank them for it. This work will take all of us. It will take all of us to proceed and do well in order to achieve racial equity and be an anti-racism campus. We didn't stop during the pandemic in thinking about moving forward with our In 2025 plan. You'll remember that last year, I co-opted the state of our university address to release our In 2025 5-year strategic plan for the first time. It calls for, around its 6 aims, as I mentioned earlier, for us to be a place where every person and every interaction matters. It will continue to chart a strategic path that reflects the vitality of our university and the future that we can create. And even though this past year we have by necessity been looking at how to respond to a convergence of crises, we have continued to move forward on the In 2025. Following my remarks today, you will see a video with brief remarks from our university academic leadership team, highlighting the progress across our academic divisions this past year. In that, you will be able to see how some of the ways that we are advancing on those 6 aims of our In 2025 plan. A few things worthy of highlighting are our 6-year graduation rate increased to 69.3% from 67.9%, part of a 10-year trend, and our largest 1-year increase in recent memory. We experienced a 7.7% increase in enrollment of underrepresented minority students in our first-time freshman class, bringing the total to 19.9%. I'm pleased to announce that Kathleen Lodel, Associate Dean of Extension, will be assuming a new leadership role advancing the In 2025 aim around engagement, including our quest to become a Carnegie Community Engagement designated campus, with the goal of achieving that designation by 2023. Our Office of Global Strategies has worked over the past year to develop and implement a comprehensive roadmap for the university's global engagement, interconnected with the In 2025 aims and strategies, and focused on the goal of every student having a global experience in their UNL portfolio. Their 5-year plan rightly and declaratively doubles down on the need for and commitment to strategic global partnerships now and into the future. As a part of the In 2025 implementation plan, our colleges and divisions will annually report their progress against the In 2025 aims and targets as part of our budget model process. A key tenet to advancing our interdisciplinary endeavors called for in 2 of the 6 aims of N 2025 is to identify grand challenges that leverage our university's existing strengths and seek to solve big, overarching, what I like to call big, wicked problems, issues that are important to Nebraska and the world. We have discussed the need to focus our research and creative activity into areas of grand challenge for the last several years. This past year, the Office of Research and Economic Development undertook an exhaustive effort to set criteria, to explore ideas, and to develop and finalize themes. Nearly 500 of our faculty and staff engaged in this incredibly collaborative and interdisciplinary process. Today, I am very pleased for the first time publicly to announce 7 grand challenge areas of focus for our research and scholarship efforts. 4 of these grand challenges build on well-established areas of global leadership for our university. First, sustainable water and food security. Nebraska is already a world leader in the intersection of water and food production, with much of that research centered in the Institute of Ag and Natural Resources and the Doherty Water for Food Global Institute. As the world grapples with feeding 10 billion people by 2050, from rural areas to densely populated megacities, the intersection of food, water, soil health, and climate is paramount. Agriculture is the largest user of fresh water in the world. With our leading research and researchers, UNL is uniquely positioned to harmonize interconnected food, energy, and water systems while advancing environmental health and resiliency, leading to an abundant and safe food supply for all. We have the opportunity to help transform the agriculture and food systems of tomorrow, integrating innovations based on the ag and food biome, big data, precision agriculture, and food technology and nutrition sciences to promote economically and environmentally sustainable food systems. Secondly, early childhood education and development. A Lakota proverb says that the ones that matter the most are the children. Children's early experiences from birth to age 8 and the environments in which they learn and grow build the foundation for future life outcomes. Today, the future of millions of children is severely compromised because of adverse conditions such as poverty, significant resource and opportunity inequities, and inept systems that damage their development. UNL has an opportunity to transform the systems which impact children's development and help ensure their developmental trajectories and our futures are on positive pathways. Thirdly, climate change mitigation and resilience. To better prepare for and mitigate climate change and its impacts, UNL has an opportunity to tap the breadth of our expertise and collaborative interdisciplinary culture. There is an urgency to addressing climate change and variability, extreme weather events, and natural disasters. UNL has the opportunity to develop solutions that foster climate resilience at local, national, and global scales through our integrated research, teaching, and outreach efforts. Coordinated efforts at UNL can lead to the development, the adoption, and application of tools to mitigate risk and the crises that result from drought, extreme weather, and changes in agricultural production and human health. And fourthly, quantum science and engineering. Quantum mechanics has been the foundation of virtually all technological applications that define our modern way of life, including the computer, lasers, telecommunications, and advanced medical imaging. And a new quantum revolution is imminent. Just as UNL has led for decades in physics and quantum science, we have the opportunity to continue to be at the nexus of this new globally competitive effort to develop potentially transformative quantum-based applications. The outcomes have tremendous implications to improve the lives of Nebraskans and people across the globe. The universal impact of this revolution will touch everyone. Over the last year, we have seen clearly that there are 3 topics in which our institution of higher education must be engaged. These are 3 additional globally relevant areas where we will seek to build a heightened focus and provide leadership through their focus and prioritization as grand challenges. Anti-racism and racial equity. I've already spoken on the imperative for UNL to make meaningful progress in this area, and I believe in doing so, we have the opportunity to be leaders through our teaching, research, and outreach tripartite mission. Race and the application of it as a concept and as a determining force is going to determine our future at all levels and in all areas. From science to art to economics to health to the social sciences to the environment to sports and to religion. As an institution, we must encourage and seek to generate scholarship that demonstrates our valuing of the intellectual contributions of the historically marginalized and racially disenfranchised in all areas of scholarship and creative activity, especially those who have built on the long tradition of intellectual contributions, thereby dismantling the systemic manner in which the Academy historically has effectively devalued scholarship and intellectual achievement of whole segments of our population. We understand that our scholarly achievements will be enriched by these contributions in ways that will have impact on our state, our nation, and the globe. We also need to identify and reform the processes and structures that lead to racial inequities. Our scholarly work should focus on minimizing the negative consequences of racism on the physical and mental health of individuals and communities. And we can identify ways to inoculate and or reduce bias and discrimination in individuals across their lifespan within their social environment through our policies, our research, and the outworking of our core values. Health equity. The COVID-19 pandemic has produced a stark reminder of the disparities in health equity within Nebraska, within the U.S., and certainly globally. Overall, variations in life expectancy can be seen based on race, ethnicity, sex, gender identity, and poverty level. It can vary by neighborhood in urban centers and the remoteness of rural places. Through interdisciplinary approaches, we can examine underlying factors impacting health equity from the cellular, the individual, and societal levels. And we can make an impact in the healthy years lived and well-being of the people of Nebraska and the world. And certainly last but not least, science and technology literacy for society. Science, engineering, and technology have a profound impact on human and societal health and well-being. Yet increasingly, as we have seen, scientific advancements raise ethical questions or challenge deeply held beliefs, which can cause individuals and groups to question the credibility of science and be more susceptible to misinformation and misuse. Scientists and engineers must address this through education and information that advances scientific and technological literacy. I am tremendously excited at the work done across the campus to develop and hone these 7 grand challenges. They are necessary work and distinct opportunities at UNL to have an even greater defining impact for Nebraska and our world. I am eager to move forward aggressively, including with new strategic investments in the coming year ahead as we implement our new incentive-based budget model. As a geneticist, I tend to look at the world through the lens of science. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Bad times have scientific value. These are occasions a good learner would not miss." Would I want to skip 2020 and these early tumultuous days of 2021 and the icebox that is outside today, perhaps? Many days? Yes. But when I look around at all that we have accomplished, at the innovation that sprang forward and the resiliency we have developed, I'm not sure any other year would have spurred that to such a great extent. We will never regain the lives lost to COVID-19 or the crushing sorrow that has brought to far too many. We cannot regain the lost lives and the struggles of recurring racism. We cannot dismiss the major economic impacts and their differential effects on groups of people from the ongoing effects of a global pandemic. And we cannot overlook the ongoing tensions and struggles of political polarization and threats to democracy in our country. But as a university and as a community, I believe with every ounce of my being that we will come through this crucible-like time more than ever as a leader, not a follower. I believe we will come through it more united in purpose and mission. I believe the creative ingenuity unleashed in this moment in time will continue to empower us to scale to greater heights as a university. And I know that our passion and dedication will always remain driven by the critical and foundational role that higher education plays in achieving a better future. Indeed, I predict that some of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's greatest days in our 152-year rich history lie immediately ahead of us. Albert Einstein said, "Adversity introduces a man to himself." We stared down the challenges we faced this year, and we did not retreat. We've seen the character of our people, and it is strong. There is indeed no place like dear old Nebraska U. That has never been more true than today. To all of our UNL community, thank you for the excellence that defines your daily delivery on our mission and all that you are as true leaders in higher education. And now, following the tradition we started last year, I am pleased that you have an opportunity to hear about exciting things happening across our campus from the best academic leadership team in higher education. Enjoy.
The academic enterprise, the knowledge that our faculty create, the students in whom it is embodied, and the communities that they enrich are at the heart of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. They are the reason the university exists. 2020 was not the year we planned for. I am proud we remain committed to 3 core values that define UNL: access, innovation, and academic excellence. This year, numbers of incoming diverse students again increased, up 83% since 2010. Departments developed more than a dozen new degree and certificate programs, even as faculty moved thousands of classes to remote learning last spring, rethought summer and fall, and enrolled 4,000 students for newly developed winterim classes. It is good to see strong and increasing national recognition of the reach and caliber of our academic programs, reflected in our rankings and in the thousands of national and international students who are joining us as part of the Husker community.
At no time have architecture, design, and planning had as much public awareness of their impact and importance as now. Then it is no wonder values established during our recent strategic planning process guide us in shaping the professions, establishing a culture within our college, and impacting others through our work. Our faculty shape the future of the professions and education by serving on national accreditation and professional education association boards. Our reputation for academic excellence has fostered record enrollment and numerous prestigious national awards. Even in a pandemic, our students and faculty partnered with Extension and assisted the town of Brownville with flood recovery and planning, explored affordable housing solutions for Valentine, and investigated concepts for biodiversity and environmental justice.
In response to the challenges of COVID-19, our college launched an emergency support fund, CAS Cares, to help students stay on track for degree completion. Over 30 students benefited from these funds last fall. The college will complete a year-long comprehensive strategic planning process this spring. Our guiding vision is succinct and ambitious. Through imagination, innovation, and collaboration, we will transform lives and improve our world. Some of our key goals include promoting the liberal arts, lifelong learning, timely degree completion, and career development opportunities, leading in inclusive excellence and diversity, and leveraging areas of research strength to address some of today's most important challenges, including systemic racism and inequity, climate change, resiliency and environmental sustainability, rural drug addiction and rural community vitality, and quantum materials and technologies. The College of Arts and Sciences is united by a shared commitment to collaborate in the discovery of new knowledge and to advance interdisciplinary solutions to challenges critical to Nebraska and the world.
We maintain our commitment to drive discovery, create opportunity, and empower individuals to lead the future of business. We innovate and expand opportunities for students that will further distinguish Nebraska business as a world-class business school. In collaboration with the College of Law, we await final approval of a new undergraduate law and business major. Complementing the successful minor, the major will prepare students for roles and careers like regulatory compliance, employment law, and contracts. Building upon the success of our top-ranked MBA at Nebraska program, we launched the Human Resource Management Graduate Certificate, and our new Masters of Science in Supply Chain Management program is accepting applications for this summer. In fall 2020, we introduced the Inclusive Excellence Gathering Space in support of our guiding principle, Be Inclusive. This, along with our new Inclusive Excellence Advisory Board and a new student organization, helps us to increase diversity and create a stronger, more inclusive community.
2020 proved that when society is faced with challenges, CEHS has solutions that enhance lives and strengthen relationships. In response to COVID-19, our Reading Center rapidly transitioned its tutoring programs online and piloted a remote program with Sydney Public Schools. When sports and other activities were canceled, our extension faculty created a virtual marathon kids club with participants logging over 4,200 miles. The college also took important steps to enhance our journey toward inclusive excellence. Through a FIRE and our racial literacy roundtable programs, over 700 people participated in educational workshops that promoted inclusion, respect, and equity. And in research and creative activity, we earned a record high number of grant awards. So as our new home on City campus rises, so too does the impact of CEHS.
Progress continues on our $160 million investment in engineering facilities. Phase 1 is the $75 million rebuild of the link and renovation of Scott Engineering Center. The research conducted in these buildings is increasing the competitiveness of Nebraska industry, generating valuable intellectual property, and creating new companies and jobs. We're building Kiewit Hall thanks to a $20 million naming gift from Kiewit Corporation and other donor support. Opening in the fall of 2023, Kiewit Hall will help us provide a world-class engineering education and meet the workforce needs of the state and region. In partnership with senior executives and University of Nebraska alumni at Kiewit Corporation, we created the Kiewit Scholars Program, a full tuition scholarship combined with a rigorous leadership program that will support 40 undergraduate students. This program is unparalleled among our Big Ten peers and other top-ranking colleges of engineering. We are living our values of community, impact, and inclusion.
What a year we had. Despite a global pandemic, we continued to learn, teach, perform, and exhibit the arts in a safe way. I'm very proud of how our college excelled during these challenging times. For instance, our college saw a 4% increase in undergraduate enrollment last fall. Our Glencore School of Music's opera program safely produced its opera, The Cunning Little Vixen, with live outdoor performances. Our School of Art, Art History, and Design presented virtual exhibits of student artwork. And the Nebraska Repertory Theater launched a 2-year partnership with the St. Louis Black Repertory Company to bring about positive social change to our university and beyond. And our Johnny Carson Center for the Emerging Media Arts received an AIA Nebraska Architecture Merit Award for its building design. And finally, I'd like to thank our community who rose to support our dance program. It's the only undergraduate dance degree in the state, and it will be better than ever thanks to overwhelming support from many of you.
While the pandemic forced us to make some adjustments, it didn't slow us down. Our students covered the Iowa caucuses and tracked political news coverage. They covered COVID-19 for the New York Times and received national attention for depth reporting on the climate crisis. They covered Husker sports, even when they couldn't attend games. They worked on advertising and public relations campaigns for more than 50 university and community partners and distributed hundreds of stories to news organizations across the state through the Nebraska News Service. Our cabinets are once again busting at the hinges with awards for outstanding student work, which we are now able to show off in our renovated Anderson Hall lobby. This spring, we'll wrap up our inclusive strategic planning process, which involved over 75 faculty, staff, students, alumni, and industry partners to develop new initiatives like a college-wide experiential learning practicum, new graduate and research programs, and expansion of course offerings in the media, social justice, and democracy.
I am excited to share some College of Law successes. Our civil clinical law program joined with several area nonprofits to create the Tenant Assistance Project, pairing residents facing eviction with volunteer and student attorneys trained to provide limited free representation in court. They leveled the legal playing field for tenants during the pandemic. The new Nebraska Governance and Technology Center launched an ambitious set of projects, including a podcast series, a faculty and student fellows program, and research on complex tech policy issues, such as solving the rural-digital divide. During the past year, the College of Law finished a $6 million fundraising effort to renovate the Schmid Law Library. This renovation will add 2 state-of-the-art classrooms and allow our talented librarians to teach our students and the broader legal community the latest techniques for using technology and digital resources to solve problems and advance justice. The College of Law has responded to this year's multiple challenges in these and so many other ways that make me proud to be a Husker.
I'm delighted to show off the Dinsdale Family Learning Commons after a 19-month renovation of the former C.Y. Thompson Library. This space is now shared by the libraries, the Engler Agribusiness Entrepreneurship Program, Husker Tech, the East Campus Exam Commons, and the East Campus Visitor Center. Our other major achievement was migration to a cloud-based enterprise library services platform. You'll see us refer to this as our online catalog, but it's really the library's nerve center and how we manage and provide access to all of our collections. We think students and faculty will only notice that their access is fast, seamless, and easy. We've just released the UNL Library's strategic plan, woven throughout with a commitment to information justice and to building an anti-racist future. We're committed to tackling the information problems that must be solved to achieve UNL's and 2025 goals.
Agriculture and natural resources are woven into the fabric of the University of Nebraska. We have the 3rd largest ag economy in the United States, in large part because of our state's history in innovation. In 2020, UNL was recognized as one of the top 20 agricultural research programs in the U.S. and 50th around the globe. We focus on innovating new ways to provide fuel, food, feed, and fiber for a growing world, while conserving and sustaining our natural resources. In 2021, we'll continue to innovate. We will also reconnect with Nebraskans, with our students, and with our producers and partners from across Nebraska, the region, and beyond.
The College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources is in the midst of an exciting time. In 2020, we launched the Changemaker Scholarship Competition to recruit innovative students from around the world. Through the Changemaker program, students bring to life a big idea that addresses a worldwide problem. We announced the new LPS Kasner Early College and Career STEM program. It offers Lincoln Northeast students the opportunity to earn early college credit and digital badges. We anticipate this program will be replicated across Nebraska. And we are transforming graduate education in the Institute of Ag and Natural Resources.
Nebraska Extension helped our state's producers, educators, families, and others successfully navigate the pandemic. Our local extension offices remained open for business. 4-H fairs engaged tens of thousands of youth, and we launched a new program, Rural Prosperity Nebraska. Our impacts were wide-ranging in 2020. We worked with entrepreneurs to launch 60 Latino business startups. Nearly 15,000 child care professionals utilized our online continuing education resources. Extension volunteers produced 28 tons of food given to Nebraskans facing hunger. Our beef website drew more than 730,000 unique page views. The list goes on and on. We will continue to reach Nebraskans in person and online in 2021.
INR faculty in the Agricultural Research Division demonstrated incredible resilience and innovation in their responses to COVID-19. Despite the timing of the onset of the pandemic at the beginning of planting and calving seasons, our faculty leaders quickly developed lab and field operation plans that achieved all critical functions safely. 2020 was a record year for INR in externally funded research expenditures and grant awards, and our faculty received many national awards in 2020, including the addition of 2 new fellows in the prestigious American Association for the Advancement of Science.
I'm looking forward to 2021 to keep our momentum going. Go Big Red.